Hello knitters, welcome back to Rena Knits. And this week we're going to be learning how to make slippers with a little bit of a twist in the front on how it closes off. These are very cute and you can modify the number of stitches that you cast on to make it fit for any size, adults to infants. Enjoy. To make slippers, what we're going to do is cast on 26 stitches on a straight needle. So you're going to cast on 26 stitches, and then we are going to do the garter pattern or stitch. So basically you're going to then knit 16 rows. So you're basically going to knit both the front side and the back side. So you're going to do this for 16 rows. Once you have knit your 16 rows, what you're going to now do is bind off or cast off 14 stitches, so that way you only have 12 remaining on your needle. So you're just going to do a normal bind off, so knit, knit, and then slip over. And you're going to do this for 14 stitches so that you have only 12 remaining. Now that you have 12 stitches remaining, what you will do is complete knitting that row, and then you will keep doing the same garter stitch for another 13 rows. So you will knit these 12 stitches in garter pattern or garter stitch for another 13 rows. Once you have knit your 13 rows, what you're going to do is you're going to end up in this position, and you are now going to cast on the 14 that you had cast off. So you're going to cast the 14 back on to your needle, and we're going to use this method to cast on the 14 stitches back. Once you have cast on the 14 stitches, what you now are going to do is knit for 17 rows. So you're just going to start knitting until you've completed 17 rows. Once you've finished knitting your 17 rows, what you're going to do is cast off all your stitches. So we're pretty much done, and now we're just going to sew it together. After you've cast off all your stitches, leave about 3 inches of yarn for sewing, and then cut it off. And then put this on a sewing needle so that we could sew it together. And we just tighten this. Once you have finished off closing the last stitch, what you want to do is take your needle and run it through each row. So you're going to go through each of the rows, and each stitch on each row, you're going to just make sure you run it through and get it. And you're going to keep doing this till the end. And here we are. And then you're going to pull. You're going to pull the yarn through all the stitches. And then continue. So once you've gone through all the stitches for each row, just pull it really tight. We're gonna do it this way. So I'm gonna pull it really, really tight. And then I'm going to stitch through these. So once you've pulled it tight, you're just gonna stitch through. This is how it's gonna look on this end. So then what you're gonna do is stitch all the way through. So you're gonna stitch the bottom of your slipper. Once you've knit the bottom, you just want to make sure you knit the side, and that's where you're gonna end it, because you want space to be able to put your foot through. So just knit this last portion right here. So sew this last portion right here, and you will be done. So here's the last little bit that I'm finishing off knitting, and you want to make sure you lock it. So just run it down a few times. And here you're going to lock it. You're going to knot it. And then cut it in. Cut the string, any extra string. And this one, if there's any extras, you could actually weave it in with a crochet hook. So now this is the back side. So what you're gonna do is just flip this over, and you got the right side. And here's the slipper. Now to make it a little bigger size, what you can do is, rather than 26 stitches, you could do 42. or even 35. So that way then they'd be an easier fit on your, depending on who, for whom you're making. So you could change the number of stitches that you cast on in the beginning in order to make this for an adult. Relax, enjoy, and keep knitting. If you like this video, don't forget to click that like button, and if you're new, welcome. Don't forget to click that subscribe button to get the latest videos on knitting projects, knitting ideas, knitting patterns, and much more.